Welcome back. Now we're going to talk about metadata analysis. So what is metadata? So that's the data about the particular data or files. So it's information which is embedded within or associated with the file, describes its origin, creation, modification, history, authorship. With images, it could be the physical device that created it. There's quite a lot of metadata which is usually attached with files. So image metadata is also known as EXIF, and you can get everything from camera model, GPS coordinates, the specific parameters on the camera that was used, whether or not the flash was used to take the image. It can prove who took a photo, when, where, what specific model of phone, sometimes serial numbers of those particular devices. It's used quite a lot in investigations. Document metadata, so a lot of Word documents and Excel documents will add a lot of information into the metadata of a particular file, which will have everything like from who created it, how many times the file's been modified, total editing time, hidden comments, embedded objects, so on and so forth. File system timestamps, you'll have your created, modified, accessed timestamps. You'll have whatever other change timestamps, it's also time zone aware. Those can be modified, and which is known as time stomping, which is why on a file system, especially on NTFS, there are two different timestamps. There's the file name, and there's another one which is easier to modify, but the file name one is stored with the file system and isn't exposed to the operating system, to the users there. Network and transfer metadata, so email headers, that has all sorts of metadata which is on there. The alternate data streams, so we'll look at the zone identifier, which is part of that alternate data stream. There's actually quite a few other alternate data streams that can be stored on there, and you can even create your own custom ADSs. Browser download records, last modified headers. There's just quite a lot of metadata out there that is constantly being recorded and utilized. So EXIF, or exchangeable image file format. This is on images, all sorts of images and videos. There's a tool that we will use called EXIF tool, which will actually be able to read metadata from more than just images, but it started out as being able to read and manipulate metadata on images. And so on photos, you can see everything from, well, the make of the particular camera. In this case, this example, it was taken with an iPhone 7 or iPhone 15 Pro Max running software version 17.2.1. It even has a GPS coordinate. So using those coordinates, you can find out exactly where that particular image was taken from and correlate it with where someone says that they were or were not. It also includes the image width, image height. The thumbnail is also part of that image metadata. A lot of times you can extract that separately, especially using the EXIF tool. It will be the true timestamp, which is independent of a system clock. And so those are timestamps which are hard to fake, and may, if someone says that they're somewhere and they're camera says that they were somewhere else, well, then kind of throws into question all sorts of things. Document metadata, much like the image metadata, this will have things like the creator, who last modified a particular file, the date and times a file was created, the revision numbers. So Word keeps track of every single revision to a file, so it'll be the revision number. So if there's two copies of the exact same document, you can see if they've been modified separately through the revision number or through the metadata. If there was a template that was used to create that particular document, that will be listed in that as well. PDFs, again, EXIF tool will work for this as well, but PDFs will have quite a bit of other information, sometimes Adobe specific information if it's created with any of the Adobe tools, but the author, what utility created that PDF, the creator of that particular PDF, date and times, so on and so forth. So there's just a lot of information which is stored with all of those files. So when looking at the files, you're looking at timestamp analysis. So there's the M time or modified time, the A time or access time, and the CR time or created time. And the E time is the last time the MFT entry was changed, like permissions or file size or something else. So that may have important information if someone is trying to take steps to hide when a file has been modified or been changed. So created is when the file was first created on that particular volume. Copying a file resets the created time because it doesn't reflect the original creation date on the source. Modified was when the file's data content was last changed. Opening a file, saving it, updates at particular timestamps. Accessed is when the file was last read. However, older systems would update that quite a bit more. All sorts of, I mean, really, accessing a file is the same as just running a antivirus scan, or if it happens to look through files, like Windows will look through files and create thumbnails of the files, that could be flagged as an access and may update that timestamp. So not entirely reliable, but could still be useful. And then time-stomping is where anti-forensics tools, and there are ways that you can do this without the anti-forensics tools. You can do it if you have direct access to the drive, but you can modify the standard information timestamps, and you want to compare that with the file name timestamps because those are quite a bit harder to manipulate. So the standard information are ones that a user can access and change, but file name is not exposed to the operating system. So some of the tools which are used for this, so like I had mentioned, the EXIF tool that will allow you to export. It's gone through lots of changes and improvements over the years, and it's used for more than just images. But you can see a lot of information. You can change a lot of information on files as well just through that tool. There's also the EXIV2, and that will allow you to see see timestamps and see other EXIF data. Again, most people use the EXIF tool. iStat, we use that a little bit. So these are all the sleuthkit tools. That's used more for at a lower level when you need to look at the specific inodes, and not specifically with images, but you can see a lot of the similar information. And finally, strings. Strings is a utility that will print out all of the printable strings in a file which are longer than 4 characters in length by default. You can change how many. You can see that that second one changes the length to 8 characters that it prints out. And then they're passing it into grep, and they're looking specifically for numbers, it looks like. So strings is very, very useful if you have a large number of files and you wanted to just quickly search through them. In some cases, there's been like some capture the flag challenges and other challenges where you have a zip file, for instance, which has a password on there, but the password is embedded inside of another file known as steganography. And using that, you can use strings to search through the files for anything which is a password and then pass that into the zip file. And it's pretty easy for someone to add information onto the end of a file, which is difficult to identify, but strings will start to expose some of that information to an investigator or someone who is looking into it. So again, key takeaways: metadata, all about data, can place a suspect in location, identify a device, reveal editing history, even reveal if a suspect is trying to destroy evidence or trying to destroy information, because that can be used against them. The EXIF information has GPS coordinates, camera model. Not all of this is always present, but you can usually identify quite a bit of it from that. Now, this can get stripped out of there, and there are tools designed to strip it out of there. I know that popular web pages, when you upload images to them, it will automatically strip off the EXIF image data to make it harder for someone to trace that individual back to their original location. Usually for privacy and not for malicious purposes, but sometimes for malicious purposes. Document metadata has like author, last modified by, revision counts, templates, can contradict claims of anonymity. NTFS will store 4 timestamps per file. Well, 4 timestamps, but 8 because it's the file name and the standard information. And there are ways that it can store more than that. So there's gonna, if you talk to a forensics professional and you say that NTFS only stores 4 timestamps, they're going to question you. If you say it stores only 8, they're going to probably also question you because it can store 12 timestamps, and there's a lot more that you can actually see. Different tools will expose that. On average, there's going to be 8 timestamps per tool, 4 of which a user can edit more easily than the other 4. And then different tools, again, we'll use the EXIF tool. There's also iStat, which we saw a little bit of that for the file deletion. Autopsy is another metadata extraction tool. We won't use too much of that, but you can run that and look at files and see what they have there. But no matter which tool you run, no matter what you do, you want to always document everything and make sure that everything is stored because documentation is key.